going on, everybody? It's your boys back again for another episode of Power Rangers Academia. Yes, we are here. We are now. We're kind of live, but you know, you guys aren't seeing us live, but it is what it is. Hasbro. I know we talk about Hasbro a lot, but this is actually, it's kind of unfortunate that we have to now speak about stuff like this. So, JD, can you be so kind and go over the quarterly report about, you know, Hasbro and their earnings?
All right, so I'm pulling up the links right now, but essentially it's been a lot of like kind of, I don't want to say it's been like the type of news where everything is completely in the trash, but it's definitely one of those things that brings it into the like you should be a little concerned like territory, like for real, because we've all been kind of like talking about this for a while. We've been kind of like concerned about the state of Power Rangers just generally. Yeah. But like this is like a real, like, you know, I think Toku Chris put it like, it was like we're now in the yellow, like you should be concerned, right? Shout out to Chris. But let's see the link I have here. So it's like Hasbro profits are down with Power Rangers being named as a leading factor to that partial impairment due to a change in the entertainment strategy and plans.
That's OD that they blame Power Rangers.
Bro, wait, can you just read that first part of the sentence again?
Yeah, so
just
Hasbro
hear this.
Profits down with Power Rangers being named as a leading factor to what via partial impairment due to a change in entertainment strategy and plan.
Do you know what that means?
That means that basically because they decided to reboot things, that everything, you know, they're like, oh, well, you're not making money, so everything sucks.
Something else that I want to add to that, because when I was actually looking, I don't think they mentioned it on the tweet, but on the actual report, like it says like their blueprint 2.0, like it said this on the quarter 3 report as well, because I was just checking all of them to see if this was just something they just started saying, but it says focus on fewer, bigger brands to engage consumers and delight fans. Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, Nerf, Peppa Pig, Play-Doh, Hasbro Gaming, Transformers. Power Rangers is not on that list.
Nope.
It says focus on fewer, bigger brands. So like that's
and those are the focuses.
Those are the focuses,
not Power Rangers. Yeah. So like clearly, it's not on. And like even if you just look at this quarter 4 one, like they usually have, you know, like even just pictures of everything and all that. Like I've looked at all of them since they started putting these out. They'll usually have like a picture of Power Rangers somewhere on here. It's not on here at all. Like, they're not even like they usually have like a picture of all the franchises, and there's usually a picture of Power Rangers on there, but on this one it's not.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, like what you're saying with that.
That's depressing.
And like Power Rangers is still on their list as a emerging brand. And I forgot who mentioned that, but somebody was saying like, how long has Power Rangers been on Hasbro?
Like
how many years now?
Like,
and it's still an emerging brand. Like that's not a good look. Like,
yeah,
why are we still
like,
an emerging?
it's funny, right? Because like, it's really hard to like take off the fan goggles sometimes, and I like for me particularly when it comes to this, because it's you know there's been a lot of factors going on, right? Like just because things are in transition doesn't mean that you have to just like throw other things by the wayside. But on from a realistic standpoint, I can kind of see how their plans for rebooting things probably got either delayed or altered to the point where they didn't foresee this process lasting as long as it has, where it's like, let's say like my guess is like Hasbro, when they acquired Power Rangers, they probably thought that they would have rebooted it within 3 to 4 years, but it's been longer than that. and we're still trying to figure it out. We still don't like, you know, we still don't really understand the full extent of this reboot. Now, going back to the tweets, right? Like you know, they did say that they saw losses from project cancellations, which is kind of going to what I was talking about in inventory asset write-offs, which I'm not fully aware of what all that means, but still the project cancellations, I'm sure it had to do with like plans for movies that they might have had, or plans for specials, or reboot ideas that they canned because they were bad ideas or whatever.
Cartoons.
Yeah, that, which, I mean, I'm pretty sure those are still going to happen in some form, but it's like they probably were like,
delayed,
you know,
for sure.
Trying things and then threw some of those ideas out. I think that it is important to say that, like, they said that although an impairment charge has incurred, the brand continues to generate value and remains an important part of our brand portfolio. And Power Rangers revenue did go up, but it's still viewed as a loss. Like, Hasbro is still looking at it as like, okay, this brand is not a brand that is a consistent generator. It's like for Power Rangers themselves, they technically are generating like money, but the brand itself is not marketable. It's not something they can rely on. It's just like they're kind of just like surviving on rabid fandom, you know, like the remaining rabid fandom that is like the adults buying toys, really, you know, because I especially because you know, there's probably kids who are still watching the shows or whatever, but I don't see it in the youth nowadays where Power Rangers is a big thing anymore. And I feel like they're kind of in this weird holding pattern where they're anticipating a reboot and things to change, and until then, like, Hasbro is going to say, well, we're not going to push this until it's the ball's in our court, right? And the way, like, I guess okay, going back to wrestling, right? The way I kind of like correlate it is like, when I like for whatever reason I'm thinking of like the WCW thing, right? Or like, you know, anytime someone acquires something else, if it's not the homegrown, they're going to treat the like the people from the other company as if they're like the stepchild, right? So if you came to WWE from WCW when that whole transition was happening, you got shit on basically, unless you were Booker T, or whatever. But even Booker T got, but like, if you're a homegrown WWE talent, you got priority, you got treated well. So I think that Hasbro still sees Power Rangers as like the stepchild, right? And Hasbro like when Hasbro does this reboot, they will see that as okay, this is ours, so we're gonna push this a little bit harder. But I still feel like they can't figure out, or they're trying to figure out how to make it marketable, how they're gonna make it work. And I think that they don't really have a lot of faith in the brand as a whole. And they're probably going to look at this like anniversary special as like an indicator of like, is this, you know, that's something like that people are interested in? It is, but it's also like, it's probably going to be like the thing that they have their eyes on the most, I would assume, because like Cosmic Fury, like, sometimes I'm not even sure who Cosmic Fury is for, right? Because it's like, you want to say it's for the kids, but it's like, I feel like they're making Cosmic Fury for internet Power Rangers fans, like the people who talk about it on Twitter all the time. Yeah. Because the amount that Simon Bennett and stuff interacts with the fans, like he like, you know, for say what you want about modern Power Rangers and whatever, but it's like he knows what's going on. He knows what people are talking about, at least.
Yup.
Sure.
And he's aware.
I think that, like, because of the fact that like Dino Fury, like, or Cosmic Fury is like an American made thing, and it's not, you know, tied to the same kind of like bounds that all the other Power Ranger seasons have been. Like, this dude knows that the show, he's gonna try to do a little bit more with it. But the point is, it's like, I still don't think that Hasbro is looking at that as the indicator for where the franchise could go. Like, maybe if it's a surprise like hit, you'll be like, oh, okay, well, like this is an interesting direction we can start from. But like, I don't know. I feel like Hasbro's just like in this holding pattern, and they want to. They're probably like they'll let the 30th anniversary happen, and then like, well, depending on what all that's the success, they're just gonna like say, okay, well, now we can either take our hands off or start putting a little bit more effort into this whole thing. But it's definitely scary. It's not the worst sign ever, but it's definitely not a good sign.
Yeah. I think that a lot of it, I feel like they're putting a lot of their eggs in the basket of the movie that, we don't know anything about yet.
Yeah.
I think the future of Power Rangers with Hasbro is all on that movie. Like if that does badly, it might be gone in a couple years. And if it does well, they're going to continue to reboot. They're going to do all the things that, all right, like, okay, now we're going to start working on the cartoon. Okay, now we're going to start doing all these other shows. And now we're going to reboot everything and do this whole continued universe that they've been talking about forever that never has gotten started yet. And I think also it was kind of a situation too, because I remember people were talking about this like when, I forgot what year Hasbro got Power Rangers, but you also have to consider the way Hasbro actually does their own movies, because like when Transformers came out with the movies in 2017 and 2018, that Last Night in Bumblebee, and then in 2021 that G.I. Joe movie Snake Eyes came out. It's like I feel like they have to have enough time to really market, like put all their time into promote and do all that. And they have to spread that stuff out. So like Power Rangers kind of put it on hold instantly as soon as they got it, because they had to find its way on their schedule to like really be able to support it. So I think that's also something.
Yep.
And like looking at the numbers too, like I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know a ton about stocks and financial reports and all that, and like it's obviously down. Like Hasbro's down. I actually do own a stock in Hasbro. I be getting those emails about like the conferences.
Okay,
if I want to tune in, I only got one stock. It was like $90. Like I don't have a ton, but the stock market in general is like down right now. So like it could be a Power Rangers thing and just a Hasbro thing, but like a lot of stuff is down right now. So it could just be, this shit being, the whole market being bad. But I don't know. It's definitely like you're saying, like you did a good job explaining everything. It's not the best situation, but I do think that Hasbro's still waiting, and also I think they're also waiting for the anniversary to really even release the movie, because when is the? I mean, the anniversary is this year.
It's April. Are you talking about Once and Always, or?
I just mean in general. I thought in general they were waiting to come out with the movie this year.
Yeah, in general it's August 28th, I believe. That's the actual 30th anniversary right there.
Yeah, I think that's what they're originally gonna do. Like when they first got it, and they're gonna come out with the movie this year. But obviously it's not the case anymore. I don't know when it's gonna come out now, but yeah. I do think it's kind of Power Rangers kind of just in limbo right now, like really just waiting for them to come out with the movie. And whenever that movie comes out and how it does is really going to decide Power Rangers' fate. And I don't think they're going to make any moves until then. So like it's not looking good, but I don't think it's that big of a deal until the movie comes out, personally.
Yeah, that'll be like the real indicator.
Yeah.
I think that just hearing all this, man, it's just like, it just sucks, because as fans, we so to answer some things, right? Before I, go all over with my thoughts, is like, we have to remember, and we know this, like, I feel like we here know this, right? That the way that they have been putting out Power Rangers as a whole, no one knows who they're for. You know what I'm saying? Like, Power Rangers, when it started, was intended for us because we were kids back then, right?
Yep.
But back then, when you look at the times, they had people in charge that, whether it was an accident or not, they made fire. They made heat. Like, look at how space was. You know what I'm saying?
They aged it up with the kids. Like, rather than resetting it with every season, they're like, okay, this kid audience that started watching Mighty Morphin, they were, 4, 5 when they started watching, and now they're 11, 12. So let's make something that an 11, 12-year-old will enjoy,
Yeah, like exactly, right? They and there's a key word there. They adapted. Okay? They took into consideration a lot of real-time things. And to a degree, even though when you look at like a documentary like The Toys That Made Us, and Saban straight off the rip says, "Oh yeah, I'm just trying to make toys." Like, bro, like when he said that shit, I was like, all right, at least he admitted it. Like Power Rangers is a giant toy commercial. But when you think of that, when you think about it in that way, what isn't a toy commercial then? I mean, you might have, like, JD, you brought up wrestling a lot. But think about it. Wrestling also, even though they have toys, but is that not like a hybrid? Like, their product itself, is that not a hybrid for everything else merchandise wise that they have? Like, put it this way. Whenever the bloodline comes out, Roman Reigns comes out, and they're wearing a new fucking shirt, guess what? It's in my shelf because I probably bought it already. Okay? Like, so I guess the bigger point I'm trying to make is like, when you have something that is so well done, no matter what you try to sell extra, it's gonna do well because the basis, the foundation is great, and that's a real thing that they don't have right now. There's no basis, there's no foundation. They're like, ever since they acquired it, not even just Hasbro, but like when Saban got it back, like, this goes back to freaking Samurai. Ever since then, that laid the precedence. That's what started all this shit right now. It wasn't just a Hasbro thing. Hasbro's just not making it any fucking better. Clearly. With the lack of direction, the lack of care and quality control, like all these things that are very real, like, they have no direction, and because the point blank is, they just don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to read the room, essentially, right? You got guys like Simon Bennett, who's just in charge of doing the TV series, right? But then, like, what about everyone else? Like, and I can tell you why. Because you can, as fans, we know how to read the room. We know how to see how things are. I was smelling the bullshit from Enway, like, once the pandemic hit. The pandemic it took the tablecloth off everybody, from underneath everybody. Because that first year, we felt like, oh man, we're good. We're taken care of. They care about us. They're really for us. They're gonna give us what we want, because they were. But it was all a ploy. It was all a ploy. Because then the second pandemic hit, what happened? They went dead silent. They started communicating with us less. And then here we are now. 2023 is about to be the 4th year of that game's anniversary. 3rd year, they didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
I had to do something. 2nd year, they reached out to me. They said, hey, can we come on your stream and do a little something for the 2nd anniversary? Of course, right? 1st year, obviously, was a big deal. But then the pattern is, it's a slope. It's a decline, right? The caring part starts to show itself that it's not there, But then when you look at another area of this space, Boom Studios, I bring them up every time because it's necessary. Because this negativity, all this stuff, it doesn't exist everywhere. It only exists everywhere else. But here we are with with Boom Studios, they've had the rights to do Power Ranger comics since 2016. Outside of like Universe, and that's only recent, there's been no fumbles, really. Like from that first issue all the way up until what they're doing now, like a good 90 to 95% of the books that they've been putting out, fire. Why? Because they have people that understand the IP. They understand that, yeah, majority of fans for Power Rangers are literally us still. It's the same kids. It's the same fucking kids. We're all still, we got jobs, we got responsibilities, and it's still Morphin time. Mm-hmm. It's still Morphin time. We're still out here. Okay, like we all have our walks of life and everything like that, but we still all love Power Rangers. So what happens? So it's like 2 + 2 is 4 for them. It's like, oh, okay, well, if that's the case, then let's write this in a tone that they'll still love, and that's what they're doing.
And like when I look at it, right, like you have to look at what or how kids watch things, right? And like when you think about your favorite cartoons growing up, or the cartoons you still enjoy that you enjoyed as kids, right, is because a lot of the times those cartoons didn't talk down to you, right? Here's a light example, right? SpongeBob, right? One of the most popular cartoons of all time. But here's a funny thing about SpongeBob, right? There's a lot of cartoons that are still great, right? Like, you know, Rocko's Modern Life, where like the humor you don't catch until you're an adult because they tell adult jokes and stuff, right? But SpongeBob, the genius of that show is that the same jokes I was laughing at when I was 10, I'm laughing at now because they're just funny. It's just funny. Nah. That show was written for me when I was 10, but I'm 32 still laughing at my leg. Like, it's just funny. And that's just like a basic example, right? But then you think about other shows, right? Teen Titans, Beast Wars, Hey Arnold. Like these are shows that are written for kids that Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh, they're written for kids, sheesh. But they stand the test of time. Yes, because they respect the audience and they're just well written. That's the core of it, right? Now, like Power Rangers is unique because like there's so much cheese in Power Rangers, but the things that made it cool, like the martial arts, those things are there, but they kind of like stumbled onto all this lore, all this extra story that, you know, the people who stuck around were able to see. But these are things that are not were accidental, right? And they luckily, like, the comics can explore these things, but the TV show seems to, you know, like there's like an over focus on certain aspects of Power Rangers that I do appreciate because like they are important, but I feel like they try to make the show just about like the fact that like, oh, everybody has to be friendly, nobody could argue, like, but that makes it feel fake, right? You know, it's like, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, as a young kid, you could still understand that people argue and make up eventually, right? So when you hear about how like even in the old episodes of Power Rangers, like there's times where people had conflicts with each other and it took them a little time to work through it, even if it was in a very elementary kind of way. But nowadays, like there's mandates where people can't be mad at each other for more than one episode, but that's not realistic,
right?
You know, and I feel like that's the part where Power Rangers is losing people, because you're like, especially in this modern age, like kids are growing up way faster and they don't have they're gonna see through that way faster, you know, unless they live in an environment where they're just kind of shielded from everything else.
Yeah.
Like Power Rangers is gonna get cornier to you way faster than it was to us back then. And then on top of that, there's just like so many more shows that you can watch. So what Power Rangers needs to do is like, it's cool if you want to aim it at kids, but you just need to have good writing. Like at the end of the day, have good writing, have good characters. And it's like, you know, I appreciate some of the things that they're doing in Dino Fury, where it's like, you know, from a lore perspective, where they're trying to wrap things together and have more continuous storylines, but it's still like, you know, they're not fully there. They're not fully committed yet, but it's one of those things where it's like, you have to get back to where we were when we got to space. Because when we got to space, that was like the formula. Mm-hmm. And that formula continued for a good while. Mm-hmm. Because, and granted, it's like the only thing that you can really like dispute is like, well, the audience still kind of changed, right? You know, why did the popularity of the show start to die down at a certain point? And that's like, you know, I kind of like a semantic argument or whatever, but the quality was there. That's the one thing that you could say regardless of anything. It was like, no matter what, you could say that there was quality for a long period of time, even if the audience wasn't there at least the quality was there. And I would rather have the quality be there than the audience at this point, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, you know, but the irony of that is like, at this point we need the audience to keep the brand alive. So it's kind of like a hard, like, you know, what do you do?
Yeah, it's like you have to that's the thing, like you always have to adapt to who your audience is, right? And like, and this goes with anything. It's just like when you have a product and you're trying to sell it, and you have like people that are buying into it, and then those same people are giving the, you know, feedback, being like, hey, like, we still like this, but it would be better and we would like it more if you did it in a certain way. And then like when you ignore that for years, and it's just, it's constant, it's in all different ways. Like what makes them think that anything that they could come up with is the right answer? Because as far as I'm concerned, based on their track record, they haven't hit shit. like I don't know, like, you know, what you guys were saying earlier with, you know, how it seems like they're really banking on the success or whatever outcome, you know, comes from the Once and Always movie. Like that's like, yeah, of course they are. You want to know why? Because it has the Mighty Morphin stamp on it. Mm-hmm. And that's what they know. Okay, it's clear to me, and I'm sure to y'all too, that Hasbro looks at Power Rangers and they only see that 1993 logo. Even with their modernized logo, they only see Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It's in the branding, it's in everything. They just, it's like, I mean, this is an extreme like comparison, but it's kind of like how like Pokemon will always use Pikachu. Always use Pikachu.
Like Transformers is always G1. It's always up, you know, even though there's more Transformers, like G1 is the thing that they advertise primarily.
Yeah, and that's just how it is. And like, you know, for me, like if I was in this position of power and I'm seeing what I have that has a lot of prestige to it, and you know, there's thousands, there's millions of fans around the world that are watching and still trying to, you know, take in, you know, like have Power Rangers still in their lives. If whatever we were trying to do was not working, the first thing I would do is literally just be like, okay, what are the fans saying? And if they're putting out, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of head ass out there. That's in any community, right?
Always.
But like when you comb through it and you really give a shit and you take the time to actually learn, because like not everyone's gonna know, right? Like anybody can have a shitload of money and be like the president, vice president, CEO. Like, people can be that, and they can spend their money on an investment that they feel like they're gonna get a return on. So sure, like Power Rangers clearly it's not as popular as it was back in the day, right? But they'll understand, like, oh well, maybe like with the right, you know, moves, maybe we could still make something of it. Sure, they're gonna give it a chance, which they clearly did, but then here we are, and it's been all these years since they've acquired it. And then like the one other thing that I think ties into this is like, didn't they not like they pretty much like all the E1 stuff that's like done, right? Like, I feel like there was something that came out some weeks ago about,
I don't know if it happened yet, but they were talking about selling E1,
right? Yeah. And even the thought of that, because all I can remember in recent years is how, oh yeah, the plans, E1, they've done this, and this guy, the something whistle, I forget his name.
Yeah,
right?
No, that thing is still happening. They confirmed that that's still happening. Like that's the real movie. Like the
that's what I was talking about. The movie, the theater movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's still happening in like their series. It's also like
back burner.
Yeah, it's not back burner, but it's they're still like trying to figure out what it is.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, it's super sad. And then, you know, speaking of sad, and this ties into this, right? You know, they've since had some layoffs. You know, they got rid of their brand writer, Sam Einhorn. They got rid of Amanda Carrera, director of global brand strategy and management. And like, we've seen these people, or we've seen Amanda, right? Or was it?
It was Sam.
It was Sam. We seen Sam on the fan fest.
The streams, yeah.
And it's just like, they're making cuts. Like, dude, when companies make cuts like that, it's never a good sign. Yeah. You know, even if it's like they're trying to just do it because of, you know, their budget, and, you know, they're not trying to go super negative or whatever the case is, that's never a good indication of anything. You know what I'm saying? So
it was sad too, because like one of the ladies who got let go, like she was the one that like when they did that last fan fest or whatever, like she like clearly looked like she was like distraught. You know, she was wearing the JDF shirt and stuff, like, you know, you could tell that she cared, which is like, if anything, it goes a long way just to reassure us that there's people who care. And then she gets let go. So it's just like, damn, like, now who's left, you know?
Well, that just makes it a little bit more fishy to me, because it's just like, oh, so you guys are gonna let go of the few fucking people that actually like gave a shit?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it kind of, this is what I mean by they are spelling it out for a lot of people. They've been trying this entire time to just get by on the name itself of Power Rangers. And they've been trying to use that said name and stick it on whatever kind of quality toys that they've been putting out. And to be honest, not like just now we're having these quality control issues, because no, there's always been issues over the years, even going back to like the first wave of lightning figures that they had. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Jason
one that I could think of is the Trent visor.
Yeah,
that shit was
Trent
terrible.
That's the most famous one.
That's the one that started it all, from what I can remember. And I'm just like it's literally like they only want people that aren't like passionate. They don't want that passionate investment. They just want workers. They want people to just come to work, do a job. We tell you to do this. We tell you to say that Rocky was the leader of the Power Rangers, right? That's what you're gonna do, and that's what they do. And it sucks, and it's sad, but it's gonna bite them in the ass more than what they realize. And my thing is, and this is like the worst, I guess, it's like a worst case turned into a good case scenario, right? I personally feel like the Power Rangers IP is in better hands when it is not owned by a company that treats their shit like this, where it's like they clearly don't want people that really care on the team. They don't want anyone to be a part of any of that stuff because they don't want people to be too attached, right? But then they are missing that key element of this recipe. If you don't have people that are passionate, that care, that really know the IP and they know what would work, that would ultimately make them a lot of money, then they honestly do not deserve to have it. And I feel like what ultimately should end up happening is, like, say they let go of Power Rangers. In a year, 2 years, whatever, Hasbro does not own Power Rangers no more. What needs to happen is somehow the fans, they need to come up with some way where it is fan owned, okay? Like, so that way, whatever could happen has a better chance of happening. Like, dude, think about that game, that Insomniac level game that we were supposed to get, and it got scrapped. And then, what was it, Bischoff or
Jason Bischoff? Yeah,
he was the one that shared the images of what we could have had. The designs on those was crazy. It's like the passion is there, but
Jason Bischoff was definitely like one of those dudes that really gave me hope, you know. And granted, like, he did work on seasons that weren't great, but he also, you knew his heart was in the right place. And that was like definitely like one of those warning signs, was like when Hasbro took over and he got fired, and then Melissa, who's writing Power Rangers now, got fired. When that happened, I was like, man, this is worrisome.
Do you see what I mean? Do you see the pattern? They got rid of all the people that actually would have given a shit.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's like the writing is on the wall. They don't want people that will really, because look, it's like one of those, like, imagine like you're doing a project and you got the group is however many big, and you got like people that are like in that group, or like maybe like one or two people that are just like all gung-ho, like, oh man, it's gonna be fucking awesome, we're gonna do this is gonna be great. And then you have the other people that are just like there just to, because they just have to be there, and just like and they only want to do the bare minimum, or barely anything, or nothing at all, right? That's how this is right now. I'm telling you right now. Like, go ahead.
I think that some of it has to do with, like you're saying, like they want people on a team that, like, if they have to cut corners or if they have to end up fucking the brand over, like on purpose to do certain things in a money situation, they don't want people that are gonna like complain and be like, oh no, we have to put the extra work in to get this done, or like be perfectionist about it. Like, no, that's not what we're doing here. We're trying to, the end of the line is the money. Like, that's all that we're really concerned about. Like, we're not trying to put in more work than we have to, or doing that,
that's how it goes.
Stuff.
Yep.
It's really unfortunate.
It's a lot of things though, like, unfortunately too, like a lot of stuff with legacy brands or huge fan favorite things, like that's just how it goes, which is really shitty. But
yep,
I wish it wasn't like that, but that is how it is, unfortunately. But it, like, when things like the comics exist and then when we know that there are people that are actually out there that have some sort of, like, they have proof of concept that they are with the shits, it's like, come on.
Especially when it works. Like, you remember that Boom Comics Kickstarter? How much did that raise? Like $1 million or like, and it wasn't even up for that long. Like,
that's what I'm saying, man. Like
when you have the blueprint and it shows that it works, like, what's the problem here?
It just takes a little bit of effort and care. And honestly, it's like, at this rate, I'm just tired of all these big corporations just taking over things that they really shouldn't have their hands on, because they're just trying to make a profit. And I mean, obviously that's what business is, but like,
end of the day.
Right. But like, see, my thing is always like this. And the funny part is, I talk to my mom about this shit, and my dad, actually, like, funny enough, right? I literally talk to both my parents about things like this all the time. And with Power Rangers, with Dragon Ball, with wrestling, like with Power Rangers specifically, I have gone on like rants just like this. and I'll be like, you know, if I was in this position of power, like, wouldn't it be common sense to literally do what works? Like, if you're really trying to make money and you're trying to make profit, like, clearly the money grubbers are always gonna try to do what the least amount that they can do at the max that they can get, right? That's usually, that's like the easy 101 concept to understand. But like, if giving a quality product, no matter what it is, a toy, a show, right? If you give a quality product from the jump, you know what that does? That gives trust. That builds a relationship with your consumers. And if you don't deliver on that, then that trust diminishes, or it just doesn't exist. And then it becomes a struggle to try to get back up on the horse to keep riding it out. But, you know, at this rate, from everything that we've talked about, reported on, and given our like takes on, it's not looking good for Power Rangers. You know what I'm saying? So we shall see where this goes.
Try to be hopeful. That's all I can do. Like right now, like the main thing, like let's just get to the anniversary special and hope that's great.
Yeah, as far as that's concerned, I know.
Movie.
Yeah,
I keep saying it, bro. The movie is that's the not, yeah, my bad. Sorry if I wasn't clear earlier. I wasn't talking about Once and Always. I'm talking about the theatrical movie that we don't know anything about. Like, that is what all the eggs are in that basket. I'm 100% sure that's what's really going on.
Yeah.
So we just gotta wait and see on that one.
Yeah, just like with anything else. But I guess to end it on a lighter note, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of used to this situation where it's like it's always in our hands, right? Mm-hmm. It's always on us, always. So what I will say is we just have to continue to love and support and hope for the best. And maybe one day we will get what we as fans really deserve, right?
Promised land.
And Power Rangers does have a and like Power Rangers does have like a history of like, you know, kind of coming through when they're on the ropes. You know?
Power Rangers like the cockroaches of entertainment, bro. We will survive.
Yo,
like, even if it doesn't
what?
work out with Hasbro, we'll find a way. That's why I'm not that. I'm
tired
bro.
of being a cockroach.
Yo, I hate
the
that,
Loki.
but it's true.
I just got done watching Loki, bro. We're the Lokis of entertainment, bro. We will find it. We'll be over there at the end of time. We will be there, bro. Still making Sentai footage, making it shake, bro. We gonna be there, bro. All these seasons that we skip, that's more material. It's all good.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
Exactly. Tokuger.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's gonna be it for this here Power Rangers Academia. Make sure you guys are hitting up our links to support us all, and make sure you're leaving us a comment on what we talked about, and let us know your thoughts on everything here. And as always, make sure you guys are taking care of yourselves. May the power protect you. Keep it locked, loaded right here on this channel. Stay safe, stay clean, and stay inside, and we'll see y'all next time.